happy, happy, happy Thursday. If you work a 5 day week, Monday through Friday, day is probably going to be like every other Thursday, but that just means we're one day closer to the weekend. And congrats for making it this far. Just one more day. Just gotta make it to work. Pretend that you care. Put in that fake motivation and make it to the finish line for the weekend. With that being said, we got a rogue Congress. And if they get a couple of bills passed, it is rest in peace to the United States as we know it. That's right. As we know it. So I got two stories here. The first one is Democrats introduced bill to enact term limits for Supreme Court justices. I don't care if it's a good deal. I don't care if it's a good bill. I don't care if it's a clean bill. Before Congress to act to put more restrictions on the Supreme Court, as in term limits of actually making it into a term-based position and not a lifetime appointee because they ruled in a favor that they don't agree in, they should look into their own house. They should clean their own house and introduce term limits for themselves. We got term limits on the president. Now they want to put term limits onto the Supreme Court. But think they need to do term limits for themselves because we shouldn't have 80-year-old grandmas, grandpas dying in office because they don't want to give up the power. But let's go ahead and continue. Let's see here. A group of House Democrats introduced a bill on Tuesday to enact term limits for the Supreme Court justice, arguing that the move will restore the legitimacy and independence to the nation of the highest courts. Well, some would argue they already have one term limit. They're there until they decide to retire or until they die. You got a series of rulings that are in line with the Constitution and within what the Constitution states that the government can do, which goes against your agenda. And you're doing a hissy fit and you're throwing it into something that will change the United States legal system. You're pretty much destroying or killing what is now and starting something up new, which I'm not totally against, don't get me wrong. All my criticisms for Nancy Pelosi, Mitch McConnell, Chuck Schumer, all these people that are well past their prime in Congress can make the same argument towards the Supreme Court. And with Biden in office, you can make the same argument with the presidents. See, the legislation titled the Supreme Court Tenure, Establishment, and Retirement Modernization Act would authorize the president to nominate Supreme Court justices every 2 years. In the first and third year after the presidential election, the justices who have been on the court the longest will move to the senior status first. If confirmed by the Senate, these individuals will serve a maximum of 18 years on the bench, and after their tenure is complete, the Supreme Court justice will retire from active service and assume senior status. Not too sure how that would work. I guess so, because there's 9 justices, so 18 years per justice, because every time it'll be the oldest one there. No, I get it. But I don't know what it means. What it means after their tenure is complete, the Supreme Court justice will retire from active service and assume their senior status, as in that they're going to retire. Justices on the bench at the time of the bill enacted would switch to senior status one by one as justices are confirmed to the bench in the first and third years after a presidential election. Under the senior status, justices will still hold their office as on the Supreme Court, which include official duties and pay, and if the number of justices dips below 9 at some point, because of vacancy, disability, or disqualification, the justice who recently obtained senior status will serve as the ninth associated justice. Rep. Hank Johnson, D. Georgia, introduced a bill along with Rep. Jerry Nadler, Mr. Penguin, Mr. Wobblers, and David, who cares? Bunch of commies. Didn't get their way, so they want to throw a hissy fit and change how we do things. Not saying it's wrong, but I think their motives are wrong. In a statement, Johnson said the bench is increasingly facing legitimacy crisis because we said so. They ruled against us, and we win. That's how I read this. Actually, I would read this, but I'm not going to. I'm already at the 6-minute mark, and it really is a hissy fit. It's a tantrum. They didn't rule our way in a gun debate. They didn't rule our way in an abortion debate. They didn't rule our way in the EPA rate. Wham. Knock the board over. I win. You go home. Taking my ball with me type of scenario, which makes them a rogue Congress. But here's the biggest one. You know how I said I have some respect for Joe Manchin? I think that was a couple of weeks ago. Like every time I make a video about Joe Manchin, he's earned some level of respect, some goodwill. But all that is kind of being thrown out to the wind, out to the ocean, assuming that he goes through with this. Because after a clash, Manchin and Schumer rushed to reset the climate and tax deal. That's right. They want to raise taxes. They want to do the Green New Deal. What little they could get accomplished and destroy America because shits and giggles? I don't know. We're in the middle of a recession, a textbook recession. We have low GDP 2 quarters in a row, which is textbook recession. Now, I get it. They want to redefine what it is. Recessions come and go just like good GDP months and bad GDP months or quarters. These things happen from time to time. But yeah, the West Virginia Democrat said he relented and agreed to sign on a climate energy tax package after returning to negotiation to draft a version that will combat inflation. This is from the New York Times. Washington Senator Joe Manchin III of West Virginia, who have been the chief Democratic holdout on climate, energy, and tax increase package. That is the backbone of his party's agenda is to tax. Because we're not already taxed already. We're already feeling the government-imposed taxation through inflation. And they want to tax more money. The backbone of the agenda on Thursdays that he relented and agreed to sign on after concluding that it would help combat inflation as top Democrats toiled to rally support to quickly pass the measure. Quickly? No, we should sit on this. We should debate on it, not just rubber stamp. Mr. Manchin said the surprise compromise began taking shape only days after he and Senator Chuck Schumer, a Democrat of New York and the majority leader, had a bitter break during the intense negotiation on the plan when West Virginia informed Mr. Schumer that he could not support a package with new climate spending or tax proposal this summer amid skyrocketing inflation. And this is why we liked Joe Manchin. But you know, our tempers get a little bit ahead of us at times. Mr. Manchin, who is isolating after testing positive for the coronavirus this week, told reporters during a virtual news conference. Now, this is something to keep in mind. Every Republican I follow on Twitter wish him a speedy recovery, and there's a lot of Democrats who I don't follow that I saw, were hoping that he would die or be so ill so he could feel the plight that they're feeling. I don't know. It's a tale of two parties. Now, I'm not saying Republicans are the better party. They're just as crappy for different reasons as the Democrats. Let's see. I was tested positive for coronavirus this week, so during a virtual news conference, Mr. Schumer, he said, turned the dogs loose on him 2 weeks ago after he said he could not commit to a plan. But 4 days later, the two patched up their split and sent their staffs back to the negotiating table to find a final version both could accept. The only exception I would have is no new taxes. High inflation. We're in a textbook definition of recession. Yes, we have job openings. Yes, unemployment is low. We are producing, but we shouldn't be raising taxes while we're starting to get up. This is like falling in the ocean. As you're getting up, the wave pushes you back down, and you try to get back up, and another wave pushes you down. That's what taxation right now will do. You printed a crap ton of money the last year Trump was in office. You did two more bills totaling $3 trillion. You don't want to hike the Fed hike up too much, but yet you want to tax us more? Sorry, I really don't like taxes. I mean, I understand taxes are needed to fund the government. Funding governments are not cheap, but at a certain point, you gotta put a pause on the spending. You gotta put a pause on the tax hikes so Americans can get back on their feet and not get rolled over by wave after wave after wave after wave. Now, it's not just Americans, it's business. I know people don't like corporations or small mom and pop shops, but those are the ones that are driving the economic recovery. Those are the ones that are going to be selling Americans consumers to consume. Even though I don't really like how our economics is being played out, because it's all about consumer markets, and I think there has to be a better way than just continually consuming. By Wednesday, they have struck a deal. Critical concessions that ultimately won Mitch McConnell's support, including jettisoning billions of dollars worth of tax increases, and impose a winning commitment from President Biden, the Democratic leader, to enact legislation to streamline the permitting of energy infrastructure. And it's not just energy infrastructure, this is green energy. These are these giant windmills that kill birds that are an eyesore because we Americans don't want to be personally energy independent. We want to either buy from the government or an energy utility company, opposed to making our homes energy independent from the grid. So therefore, we have to have these ugly eyesores, which is a personal opinion of mine. And when the wind doesn't blow enough, they don't create enough energy for the demands, or they freeze over, creating a cascading effect. But you can ice-proof windmills, but it's at a cost. Permitting energy infrastructure that could ease the way for shale gas pipelines project in West Virginia, which Manchin has taken personal interest. Wait, they're building the pipeline? I would say I'm saying straight to you, without permitting reforms, without their ability for Americans to do what's best, produce, there is no bill, he told Happy Kvetchel, a West Virginia radio host, on Thursday morning. That is a totally agreed upon and understood. In their private caucus meeting Thursday morning, Mr. Schumer began laying out the groundwork for the promises and arduous process of steering the compromise through an evenly divided Senate, made more difficult by the chamber's arcane rules, outdated rules with the filibuster. So we gotta do this by majority only, not the 60 votes like our forefathers. That's so arcane. Sorry, I'm just frustrated because they put those rules in place for a reason to make sure people compromise so you don't completely rape us. You gotta put some lube before you rape us, or there's some stopgaps so it could be prolonged before we get the penetration rape. I don't know how well this video is gonna do, but I don't know. He counseled. Ouchie, how long is this one? Either way, doesn't really matter. I always knew that he was a Democrat, and Democrats just love to spend and raise taxes, where Republicans love to lower taxes and spend, or declare unconstitutional wars on Middle Eastern countries. But like I said, I mean, it's a rogue Congress. They want to destroy traditions that have propelled the United States into the position it is in today. And because they are having a hissy fit because certain things don't go their way, they want to change the rules. But yeah, I would read. I'm not going to read the rest of that New York Times because I don't like Democrats. I despise Democrats. The only thing I despise more than Democrats is Democrats in D.C. Because they'll smile, say everything's okay, saying we're not going to hurt you, and they end up hurting us like an abusive relationship, and people keep on reelecting the same people over and over and over. Like I'm saying, Nancy Pelosi's position is up for re-election in California. I'm not saying vote Republican. I'm just saying vote not her. Is that too much to ask for? Don't vote for Nancy? Or don't vote for Nadler? Yeah, he's in the House of Representatives. Is it too much to ask to change politicians? I mean, I know their depends need to be changed, and they need to be changed for the same reason, because they're full of crap. Can we get some new people to crap on us? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just frustrated because I'm tired of government screwing us. Leave a comment down below if you agree with me or disagree with me. If you agree that we need new leadership in DC, both the presidential leadership and in Congress, please smash that like and subscribe button on any and all platforms, or just the platform you're currently watching on. But most importantly, have yourself a wonderful day, morning, or evening.